And I suppose the thing that came to me was that really the beginning point of music is actually silence. So that's something that later on as a teacher, that was something I had to start making, conveying as being something important to students. And it's interesting now, I always find that the juice, the truth, is quite often kind of funny, that, there's a joy to knowledge. And I suppose the best way to convey it is, say, when conveying to a student, it's a great thing to convey that, hey, the notes might be someone else's, but the silences are yours, so to lay claim to it. Because sometimes people can, when trying to actually do music, that's maybe a bit beyond them at the time, is that they feel a bit overwhelmed by the whole idea. For instance, if someone's learning for release, it's a bit kind of, this is hard, I'll never get to do this. And then you say, well, they're Beethoven's notes, but the bits in between are yours, so just go slower, so. And they go, oh yeah, that felt easier. And then you say, well, that's actually how Beethoven wanted it. So I think just to make, when people are, say, learning about, because everyone has music in them anyway. I think that's another thing to say, because people say, oh, I'm not a musician, I can't sing. And you say, well, do you dance? And they go, oh yeah. And they say, do you sing in the shower? Oh yeah, I sing around the house all the time. You go, well, you're a musician, really, the music's in it. As you said, we're hardwired, we respond to it. And as neuroplasticity is really, studies have shown, is that whether someone actually knows how to play music or not, their ability to remember and recall and sort of reproduce melodies and songs is unlimited. Anyone who's never learnt a note can probably recall as many songs as someone who actually formally plays. So I suppose that's one very important thing, is silence. The other thing I've really felt that there is always a kind of a connection, even with the mechanics of music, back to the spirit of being a human being on the face of the earth. And when I think about it, and when I think of all the study I've done, all the playing I've done, all the looking at musical history, really there are only two things about music that exist really. That's melody and rhythm. Everything else is a composite. Like even this, if I play some complex jazz, if I do something like that, you go, well, that's not just melody, that's other stuff. And you go, well, that's lots of melodies all at the same time. They've arrived there over hundreds and hundreds of years to that point. So I've thought in a deeper way about it, and realised that, to me, the melody is the spirit. It's the person in solitude. Whether a person thinks it's their relationship with God or just themselves or whatever. That is where introspection lies. And so that's what people do. People will just sing to themselves, gardening, doing the dishes, in the shower. And then rhythm, as soon as we have rhythm, that's kind of, we could call that tribal. And that is a reflection of being in a community, being part of a world, a community, and being on the earth. And so the two together, it feels like melody, rhythm, is a celebration, an expression of that, of being on the earth and being in that. So when conveying that to people, I think it's really important to just enjoy those things individually. Like, for instance, one thing I think is a really, really essential thing is, if someone's playing a musical instrument, get them away from the musical instrument, because it's, it's a look at this piano. It weighs 340 kilos. It's a monster. It's got 88 notes. It's actually kind of can be threatening. And a guitar has got all these strings and things. People go, I like that. So I go, well, let's just clap and stamp our feet. So, you know, clap, clap. And that I've always found, and Joe, I've seen Joe do it too, you know, it's like getting people when you're playing music, no matter how complex, to get the people to participate, to just clap or stamp their feet is joyous, and it's a celebration. And at that time, it's not about performer audience, it's about celebration of ourselves as human beings. So it's kind of, I'm finding more and more as time goes on, and it's been interesting during this lockdown where, you know, all teaching is done this way, is that there's certain things you can't do, like, for instance, you can't even play along with someone because there's a delay, or you can't play rhythmic things anyway. There's a delay. So it's kind of interesting that you've got to kind of feedback things and you get person to go, well, okay, you be the metronome, you tap, now clap. You do that along with yourself, and then suddenly, you know, it might be a bit hard at first, but you make it a bit simpler. And then when they get it, it's like, it's everything, you know, and that's my experience in music. And actually, that's one of the greatest secrets, I think, for someone who does play music to convey to other people. All you've got to do is get down to something smaller and smaller and smaller until what you're trying to do, that your intellect has told you to do, you can feel, and you can feel it in your mind, heart, body, everything, and you'll feel happy. You know, it's that simple. So it's kind of interesting, isn't it, that we might be practicing to do something, you know, really complicated, but in the end, what we're getting is back to just feeling happy.
Great, yeah. Michael, so I think you're going to play something for us now.
Yes, I'm just going to play. I've done a couple of piano CDs in which are kind of meditative, and they're based on themes, and they're kind of loose. So they've got themes, and they're sort of written, but then they're free. I'll just explain this, the sort of mechanics of this, which, you know, I don't normally, but since we're talking about music, is this piece is called Cascade. So this, to me, was like an expression of almost like the soul had sort of come down to earth and was just finding its way and floating around like a waterfall. So that's why I called it Cascade, as enjoying, sort of in touch with the world. And it starts with a motif, which is actually 5 notes. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that, to me, that number just gave me a certain feeling of connection. And then again sits another motif, which is 2, which is almost like a rocking of a baby in its cradle kind of thing. So it goes. So it's actually 2 energies, almost like coming down, like this 5 thing, and then the 2 are almost like a newborn baby. So that's the feeling. So if you can go into that feeling, you can feel a 5, or you can feel the rocking there, and see how we go.
Oh, thank you so much, Michael. Yeah, thank you. It's very good. Yeah, we really got that sense of that experience of being calm and how music does that. You know, it's just a direct experience. So thank you, and thank you for those words. There are lots of really amazing things there about the silence between the notes, and yeah, it's just wonderful. Um, so now we're very, today, as I said, we've got two, not one, but two wonderful musicians, and Joe Creighton is the other one. So Joe has fronted his own bands, has played with many leading Australian groups, including Joe Camilleri and the Black Scholars and Tim Finn's band, played with Johnny Farnham for 13 years on the road and toured internationally with Kylie Minogue and Olivia Newton-John. So I've had amazing experiences, including, as I know, meeting George Harrison, which as a Beatle fan is right up there for me. So Joe, I was just wondering if you can give us your thoughts about this other sort of aspect of music, which is the way in which it connects us to those significant parts of our lives.
I've always felt, am I coming through clearly?
Lovely. Thanks, Joe. Yep.
I have always felt that music is almost like anchor points throughout our life. You know, you hear a melody, you know, you'll hear about people talking about, you know, that's our song. You know, a couple might talk about our song. It's something that they share together that will always remind them of that union or that meeting each other. Or I know for myself, music carries a lot of memories. It seems to just be able to unlock the experience that you can, you know, re-experience it again. I mean, if I think back to my childhood, I remember my mother used to play quite a lot of country music and even Elvis Presley. And when I hear those songs, you know, I hear, Hound Dog or Now and Then There's a Fool Such as I. I'm right back. I'm right back with her. I can feel the essence of that experience, and that's a very, very powerful thing that music can do. It can actually transport you back into something that you wish to remember. And you know, you think back on even great worldly events or great events in the world. I think of, you know, when Kennedy assassination, not to think of bad things like that, but it just the music that was happening at the time will bring you right back to the feeling that you had when you were there. And one of the things I do is a Van Morrison show. And it's been delightful to observe how that music unlocks things for people when you play, you know, when I play them, like, because Van Morrison's music stretches right across five decades, really. And sometimes when I'm performing this music, I can see what's happening to people. I can actually see that the feeling is sort of just, you know, coming forward out of their hearts, really, and it's taking them back to their teenage years or their childhood or you know, when they got married or whatever it is. And it was great hearing what Michael said about, you know, the soothing power of music, and it does have an incredible effect on you when you hear a piece of music that has meant so much to you, and it will be with you for life. That's the thing about it. It's quite an incredible thing. I don't know anything. I mean, literature can do a certain thing, poetry can do a certain thing, but music has a way of bypassing, you know, the conscious mind in a way, and going right into the subconscious or right into the heart, into the soul of the being. And music for me has always been quite a deeply spiritual thing. Even rock and roll music and blues and to classical, to jazz. It's always been something that I've immersed myself in And it was the thing that made me want to perform and to be able to to use the talent that I had. And all the way through my life, it's been the linchpin. It's been the thing that has just kept me going through the good times, through the bad times. And to be able to write music has been an incredible thing. And I'm eternally grateful to my creator for allowing me to have that channel through, which comes sometimes, it comes from a very deep place in you sometimes. I mean, I've had songs that I've tried to sing, and like one particular song is a very old Irish song called Carrick Fergus, and it took me probably, well, several weeks before I could actually sing it without becoming over emotional. It seemed to release so much stuff from a deep part of me that I would choke up and I couldn't sing. So I couldn't perform it live because I was just going to be a mess if I did that. So there's something from the point of view of creating music that can do that, can just open your heart up so much. And there's something about receiving that as well. Like one thing that gives me so much joy in life, if I'm singing and I look out in the audience and I can see that people are deeply moved by it. I mean, I've seen that. Like there's one particular song that I do in my Van Morrison show called Ballerina. And I remember one time I was performing in St Kilda at Memo Theatre, Memo Music Hall. And there's these two men, I think they would have been probably in their 60s, were standing near the front of the stage. And I finished the first set on that song, Ballerina. And as I walked by them, both of them were crying, and I was so moved by that I could help generate that in someone else, that it stirred such a deep part of them. It is quite a moving song, but I'm eternally grateful to be able to do that and to have had that experience.
Wow. Yeah, thanks, Joe. I think it's really, it goes right through our senses, doesn't it? Music connects us, through our senses, and it's in a different way than perhaps, as you say, reading poetry or not so much poetry, but certainly literature. It can be more a mind in the mind, but music brings us into our bodies more so, and just by the nature of what it requires of us. So, yeah, you're going to play some music for us as well?
Sure, I'd love to.
Great.
No, I'm going to do it with a backing track, so hopefully you can hear it okay.
Yeah.
I'll play guitar along with it. This is a song that I wrote a few years back, and it's called When Your Mind Is Gone. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, when I announce that, laugh, oh yeah, when your mind's gone, like when you go a bit la la land. But this song is really about communing with your inner self and getting your mind to stop, like from different times, maybe sitting by the ocean, or some people might do it fishing, some people might do it playing golf or watching a movie. But when your actual mind stops, that's when peace actually starts. But sometimes it's like the mind is like a computer, and sometimes computers go a little wonky. And sometimes the mind goes a little bit wonky, and it does take away our peace. So this song is about that. Hold on, I've got to go onto my other page to switch the song. You watch the tide ebb and flow. Let it go when your mind is gone. You let the rain wash away all your pain. Let it flow. But when your be free. When your mind is gone, oh yeah, you'll be free. You poke a demon, he'll turn back and fight. He'll stalk you by the day and haunt you at night. Oh, but when your mind is gone, you'll be free. But when your mind is gone, oh yeah, you'll be free. You had your run and now you know how it feels. That old black dog just snapping at your heels. But you move on through and your heart will surely heal. Ah, but when your mind is gone, you'll be free. When your mind is gone, yeah, you'll be free. Hey, yeah. But when your mind is gone, oh, you'll be free. When your mind is gone, oh, you'll be free, free, free. When your mind is gone, when your mind is gone, when your mind is gone, you'll be free. Free, 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 when your mind is gone. When your mind is gone, oh Lord. When your mind is gone, oh yeah, yeah, you'll be free.
Great. Thank you, Joe. That's great. And a great message too in these times when our minds can just take over too much. Yeah, it's just wonderful.
Absolutely.
We're very fortunate to have the sort of level of high quality musicians that we have in Ballarat, and yeah, so yeah, I can see Mary saying that this is her dream song, so that she can yeah. Just to allow that to let it be. I think it's really important, yeah. So as with all these webinars, we're actually concluding by providing some mindful resources. And today we thought, given that we've got Joe and Michael with us, that how wonderful it would be just to finish this session with a few minutes of music as we all relax and enjoy. And so in the spirit of coming into this sort of restful and mindful place, we want you just to really take that deep breath. As Michael says, listen for the notes between the music. And just as we are very appreciative of listening to you guys to play us out. So thank you.
Just be mindful too that Joe and I are doing quite a daring thing, in which we're playing over the internet, where there's somewhere between half a second and 1 second's delay between us. So what we're doing is we're taking the rhythmic component out, so that it's kind of like it's just the floating free of the spirit kind of feeling. So that's mechanically how we do it, but that's how it the music will be as well. So it's a giant experiment.
Oh yes, yes. Well, that's right. Thank you guys. That was just a lot, really so supportive in these times. I think so. We're hearing so much about the stress and worries that are around in the world. So it's just been wonderful to take even 30 minutes just to drop out and tune in, as they say, to and for you to support us in this way. So thank you so much. It's just really very much appreciated. Yeah, thanks guys. And so next week we've got, for all of us who are having trouble sleeping, Professor Jared Kennedy from the School of Health and Life Sciences at Fed Uni will be joining in to tell us all about the new science of sleep. So welcome back for that one. Welcome all to everyone that for next week. Thank you. Thanks again, Joe and Michael. Thank you. Bye now. Take care. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah. No, it went pretty well, and yeah, very much appreciated. And as I say, Rochelle will give you guys a call to see if she can do a story. She's been doing stories on these webinars in the Courier, and she does a great job. So I'll send her your details.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right. Take care, and hopefully, you know, we're not too long before we can all get together again, hey?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll be good.
All right. See you guys. Bye now.
Thanks, Lynn.
Bye.
Bye bye.
See you, Joe.